Hey grade 5s, welcome to our lockdown lesson. As you can see, today's video is quite different to the videos I've done for you in the past couple of weeks, and that is thanks to Cody in 5.1. He decided that he didn't like just hearing my voice and the voice of his other teachers. He wanted to see us, so for today's lesson, you get to see me. We're already on to lesson 2 for PSW, and before we get started with today's content, we have to mark the work from last week. So grab your notes and a pencil and let's mark it. So just like normal, I'm not going to read out the full sentences. I'm going to tell you the answers that we're supposed to go in, just to save a bit of time. With a couple of the other questions, I will be explaining how we got to the different answers so that you understand where you may have gone wrong. For 1.1, you needed to fill in the word idea. For 1.2, you needed to fill in either race, gender, wealth, skin color, or religion. Remember that one was just one difference. And then 1.3, you needed to fill in the word inaccurate. Okay, so with this section of the activity, you needed to read the statements and say if they were stereotype, bias, or discrimination. I will explain these ones so that we understand why we've got these particular answers. 2.1, blue is a better color than green. This is an example of bias. Okay, it's an opinion, so it is a bias. 2.2, you can't play soccer because you're a girl. This is discrimination. If we think about what discrimination is, its definition, discrimination is someone being treated differently because of a difference that they have. So this girl that wants to play soccer is told she can't because of her gender. Okay, so that's the difference she has, and she's been told that she can't do something because of that difference. Okay, 2.3, all blondes are dumb. This is an example of stereotype. If we, again, understand the definition of stereotype, it tells us that another person or thing has to match a fixed idea that someone else has. Someone else has this idea that all blondes are dumb, so they match this fixed idea, therefore it's a stereotype. 2.4, men never cry. Again, it's an example of stereotype because the whole group of men, okay, the gender, are being made to fit this particular idea that another person has had. 2.5, you can't play with us because you're Jewish. This is an example of discrimination because the person has a difference in religion. Okay, they're Jewish. They're being told that they can't play with these other people. And then 2.6, Liverpool are the best football club in the world. This is an example of bias. Again, it's an opinion. It's an opinion that Mrs. Ramos has. If you guys watched the special message to the grade 5s, you'll see that I am a big Liverpool fan. Right. On this slide, we have got the next part of our activity. You were given pictures and you needed to tell me, or you needed to answer the questions that went with the pictures. So in this case, it asked if this little girl in the picture fits the stereotype of a girl. Now, the stereotype of a girl is that girls are always neat and they don't get messy and they don't really play sports. They play with dolls, and that's more or less the stereotype of girls. So if we think about that and we look at this picture, we know that the girl does not fit the stereotype because according to the stereotype, little girls shouldn't be messy and play sports. And if we look at the picture, we can see that there was the baseball mitt over here and her face is a little bit messy as well. Okay, then this picture was of a female firefighter. The question asked if it goes against the gender stereotype, and the answer is yes. Okay, because firefighters are usually men, and the stereotype is that women can't be firefighters. Okay, then on this question for 3.3, we needed to say if the pictures were examples of stereotype, bias, or discrimination. So this picture I used in the lesson, and you would have seen that it is an example of bias. Okay, in this picture you had to read the little speech bubble to understand if it was stereotype, bias, or discrimination. And if you read it, it says that, don't you know only girls do ballet? Alright? If you're saying only girls can do something, it's a whole group fitting a particular idea, it is a stereotype. Okay, boys don't do ballet, it's a stereotype. In this picture, I really hope that you could see it very clearly in the previous video that we did. It shows us a commentator that is wearing a green shirt, and behind him are the spectators that have come to watch this sport, which we're assuming is soccer. They're also wearing green. So because he is wearing green and the spectators are wearing green, we can safely assume that he is supporting a particular team that is playing. So by him saying that goal was pure luck and there wasn't any skill, he is being biased, okay, most probably towards his own team. All right. So by saying that there wasn't skill behind it, he's diminishing the fact that the other team has scored a goal. Then again, we had to read the speech bubble. It says, I'm sorry, you won't be able to come in. We don't have space for people in wheelchairs. That is an example of discrimination, okay? This lady's difference is that she has a disability and she's being treated differently because of her disability. So that is discrimination. Okay, so for today's content, we are talking about child abuse. All right, we're going to cover the different types of child abuse that there are and how to deal with abuse if you find yourself in a situation where you are being abused. So firstly, the different types of child abuse that we get, there are lots of different types of abuse. The main ones that are very common and occur quite often are sexual abuse, physical abuse, and emotional abuse. All right. For today, we are going to be talking about physical abuse and mental or emotional abuse. Okay, to understand why they are different and how we categorize them, physical abuse is the type of abuse that harms your body. Okay, so if you're being physically abused, someone could see it. Okay, they could maybe see bruises on you or cuts or scratches on you on your body. And then mental or emotional abuse, you can't physically see. I can't see that you are being mentally or emotionally abused because it harms your mind. Okay. Okay, so if we're talking about a physical abuse specifically, it is when someone does something on purpose to hurt or to harm you. All right. So if someone accidentally hurts you, if someone accidentally bumps you with their school bag or elbows you because they're turning around and they just happen to elbow you, those things are by accident, so they don't count as physical abuse. Okay. If it hurts your body, yes, but it's not on purpose. Okay. So it's not physical abuse. If you're at school and someone turns around and hits you with their school bag on purpose and you get a bruise from it, then that would count as physical abuse. Okay. Examples of physical abuse include hitting, kicking, punching, biting, scratching, shaking violently, or even burning. Now, each of these things leave a mark on your body, right? If you get hit, you will have a red mark. If you get kicked, you will have most probably a bruise. If you are punched, you will definitely have a bruise. If you are bitten, you get bite marks on you. If you're scratched, you've got fingernail marks on you. If you are shaken violently, it means that someone has grabbed you by the arms and they move you back and forth very hard, and that would hurt you. And often they grip you so tightly that it leaves marks on your arms. Okay. And then it mentions burning here. Sometimes um, children are burnt with cigarettes, okay, and it leaves burn marks on them. If someone gives you dangerous drugs or alcohol or poisons, this is also physical abuse, okay? That is because drugs, alcohol, and poisons harm your body, all right? Drugs and alcohol, let's talk alcohol specifically first. Alcohol has an age restriction for a reason. Okay, you are small as a child, you're still busy growing. If you have alcohol, it can sometimes stunt your growth and it damages your organs. So you should not be having alcohol as a child, and it is illegal for children to drink because of those reasons. If an adult gives you alcohol, they are physically abusing you because they are damaging your body. Okay, so now we're going to talk about mental and emotional abuse. We've already said that mental means to the mind. Okay, so this happens when someone makes you feel bad about yourself or makes you feel very sad or unwanted or unloved. So they're feelings. Okay, I can't see your feelings. I can tell how you might be feeling by the look on your face. You can show me your emotions on your face, but I can't physically see in your mind that you've been hurt. All right. So this is the contrast to physical abuse. If you are ignored all the time or not shown any love or affection by people who are meant to care for you, this can be emotional abuse. So there's something called neglect. Now you get various types of neglect. You get physical neglect where if your parents who are supposed to care for you don't give you any food, that's a physical need that you have. That is physical neglect. Okay, but now an emotional neglect would be this point that they've made over here, where you're not shown any love or affection by people who are meant to care for you. Okay, that is a type of mental or emotional abuse. Okay, it's emotional neglect. Now, if you're constantly criticized or teased or humiliated, that is also mental abuse. Okay, if you're criticized, you feel bad about yourself. We spoke about feedback last term, where if I give you feedback but I say it in a nasty way, that's criticizing, it's making you feel bad about yourself. If you're teased, whether it's by family or friends, and it happens constantly and it makes you feel really bad about yourself, it brings down your self-esteem, it's also a form of mental or emotional abuse. And then to be humiliated means to be made fun of and to feel embarrassed. That's also, again, a type of mental abuse. So how do we deal with abuse? We're going to talk about what to do and how to report it. Okay, so what do you do if you are being abused? First thing you should try and do is to get away from the abuse, whether it's emotional or physical, right? You need to learn how to say no or stop so that the other person knows that you mean it. You can't say, no, don't do that, please stop, because that doesn't sound like you actually wanted to stop. You've got to be confident and assured of yourself that you wanted to stop by saying it in a way that the person knows that you mean it. Okay? If you're with your friends and they are making fun of you, if they're emotionally abusing you, calling you names, making you feel bad about yourself, you have to say, no, I don't like it, you need to stop, so that they understand that you're being serious. You guys sometimes think it's a joke where you laugh about it with each other and you call each other bad names and you diss each other, and that's emotional abuse. Okay, even if you tell your friend it's a joke, I didn't mean it, it can still hurt. So you shouldn't be doing it in the first place. The same goes for physical abuse. If you bacon slice each other, it's not okay. It's physical abuse. It's wrong. Then the last point for what to do is to tell someone. If you tell someone, you're acknowledging that the abuse is happening, which is the first step to getting help. If you tell someone, they can also help you in ways that you can't help yourself. Now, this goes with reporting abuse. I'm going to carry on with talking about reporting abuse. If you are being abused, don't think that it's your fault, ever. All right? Some abusers want you to believe that it is your fault because you might feel like you deserve it. Like you did something and the abuse is just a result or a consequence of you having done something. It's wrong. Okay? Never believe that you are guilty of doing something that means that you should get hurt. Okay? To the point where it's abuse. It's not okay. If you go and tell someone about it, you need to tell an adult that you trust. If you tell your friend, it's okay, but a child can't help you, all right? They don't have the resources to send you to a psychologist or to involve the police, so you should be telling an adult, all right? And specifically one that you trust. If you don't trust the adult, you don't know for sure that they're actually going to try and help you. If that adult doesn't believe you, you need to keep telling someone until you are believed, okay? Keep at it, all right? It's important because you need to be safe. Now, you can contact Childline. I learned something very new today. I didn't know that they had a website, and their website is really, really nice. It's got lots of problems that children and teenagers and even parents deal with, and it's got different ways on how to address these problems and who to speak to, and they also have counselors online that you can chat with about issues that you might be having. So if you get a chance, actually go and look at this website. It's a really good website. Then there's a phone number for Childline. The phone number is super, super easy to remember. All phone numbers in South Africa have 10 digits. So I've broken this number up into sets of 5, as you can see. Now, the first set of 5 is a whole bunch of zeros, and the second digit is an 8. So it's 0, 8, and then 3 zeros. And the last 5 digits are all 5s. So it's really easy to remember. If it has to come up in a test or an assignment, I hope that you can remember it quite easily. Then carrying on with reporting abuse, report it to a teacher. Your teachers are 100% able to help you. I've had children that I've helped with cases of abuse before where they've come and spoken to me in confidence, and I've dealt with it in the ways that it needs to be dealt with. So if you are dealing with things, you find a teacher that you trust and you tell them about it, and I promise that they will help you. Abuse should also be reported to the police. Okay, abuse is a crime. All right, especially child abuse. It is a crime. It shouldn't happen, and if it is an adult that is doing the abusing, there are most likely legal charges that will be pressed. So it should be taken to the police, but you don't go straight to the police. It's not really easy for you as a child to do that. You go to a teacher or an adult that you trust first, and they will help you escalate it further if it needs to be. Okay, I've decided to include bullying in this as well. It's not in our textbook that we use, but it does absolutely go with both physical and emotional abuse. So we're going to talk about it a little bit. We're going to understand it. I know that we talk about it very often at school, but we're just going to reiterate it because PSW is the best subject in which to do it. So when you're being bullied, if you ever have been, I know lots of you have, and most probably will experience some form of bullying throughout school. And even your lives, adults can be bullied as well. It is difficult for anyone to deal with. All right. So firstly, understand that you are being bullied is one thing. To know that it's bullying and not just a once-off accidental joke or whatever your friends say it might be, it's quite difficult. When you are bullied, you might feel afraid or degraded, which means you feel less than what you are. You feel bad about yourself, and you sometimes feel worthless. Okay, so these are all negative, bad feelings that we don't want, and bullying makes us feel these things. So bullying is really, really bad. When you're bullied, you may want to stop going places because you are afraid that you might see the person who is bullying you. This goes specifically for school. If you're being bullied at school, often you don't want to come to school because the bully, the person that's making you feel bad about yourself, is there. And that's terrible because school is education and education is a basic right. So your bully is stopping you from achieving your basic rights. This information that I got on this slide is directly from the Childline website that I was telling you about. So if you want to read a little bit more about bullying, you can visit the website that is listed here, or you can just go to the website I showed you on the previous page, and you can find bullying under problems that children deal with. Types of bullying do we get? We know that if someone punches you and they do it every single day, it's a type of bullying. Okay, so the physical forms of bullying is hitting, pinching, biting, pushing, shoving. Those are all physical because they show on your body where you've been hurt. Then the mental and emotional forms of bullying. Now, when I read these, it was very interesting because it's things that happen commonly in class. You guys have all witnessed it. Some of you have done it and some of you have had it done to you. So it's things like being called names, right? Any kind of name. Even if it's a name that's not supposed to be offensive but you don't like it, that's offensive to you. It's a mental or emotional form of bullying. If someone makes up things to get you into trouble, that's also kind of bullying. If they take things away from you, I'm thinking about some boys that like to hide pencil cases in the class. That is a form of bullying. It's wrong. Don't do it. Damaging your belongings, okay? That goes without saying. If it's not yours, don't touch it. If it's not yours, even more reason to not damage it, okay? If you borrow your friend's pencil and they've been nice enough to lend it to you, don't break it in half, okay? It's a form of bullying. Stealing your money, that goes without saying. Taking your friends away from you, this is quite an interesting one because I'm sure quite a few of you feel like you've got, let's say, for example, you're in a group of 3 friends and one of your friends decides that they don't want to be friends with you, but they take the other friend away from you and you're left alone. That's a form of bullying, okay? It makes you feel bad about yourself. So it's an emotional form of bullying. Spreading rumors. Rumors are bad news. Don't ever say something about another person that is damaging, okay? I believe that things go around as they come around. So if you say something bad about someone else, it's probably going to come back to you. And if it comes back to you as being the person that said it, you're going to get into trouble. If you tell me that someone else told you and you were just passing along what you already knew, it's still not okay. You were spreading that rumor. Threats and intimidation. Now, these are verbal forms of making you feel unsafe. So, for example, if you were in the classroom and someone took your pencil case away and they said to you, if you tell the teacher I'm going to hit you after school, that is a threat. Okay? Another form of emotional bullying because it makes you feel unsafe. Not okay. Tell someone. Okay, so the last little part of this lesson is a video that I need you to watch on YouTube. It is an excellent video about how to deal with verbal forms of bullying. The speaker does speak a little bit about physical types of bullying, so pay attention to what he says there, but go and watch this video because the activity that we're doing today is based on this video. Okay, so pause the video here, follow the link, it's also in the description box at the bottom, and come back to this once you've finished watching the video, and then you'll be able to complete the activity. Okay, so here are the questions that are based on the video I've asked you to watch. The speaker is named Brooks Gibbs. Okay, so he's the person that's speaking throughout the video that you watched, that I listed on the previous slide. So these are the questions, and they are all based on that video. So you're not going to find the information in previous parts of my video. You need to watch the other video to find the information. The first question is, what is the name that sociologists have used instead of bullying? Okay, the very beginning of the video tells you that. How would someone being bullied win the game? All the bullying experts agree that bullying is an what of power. When a child is empowered to solve their own social problem, what three concepts do they develop? Okay, in this part of the video, he shows you, he puts his fingers up like I'm doing now, and he shows you that there's three concepts that are developed by a child being able to solve their own social problem. Okay, so obviously you're going to have to write these questions down. I don't have an online link for you today, unfortunately, but next time if we have an activity, I'll hopefully be able to get one done. I hope you've enjoyed seeing me a little bit today, and good luck with the rest of your work that you've got to do today if you still have things to do. If not, have an awesome rest of your day.